Hi everyone. Don't mind the background. I'm at work, recording this video. If I look down, it's because I'm reading off paper. So, discussion 3, personality change. Researchers have found that it's sometimes needed for a person to move to a place where people don't already know them in order to change their personality. I believe there are many factors for why a person would need to move to a new place in order for them to change. For one, their environment could be a constant reminder of the traumas they face. For example, they could have grown up in an abusive household or bullied by their peers from elementary to high school. According to Saget, Dubis, Dekovic, and Van Aken in 2019, early experiences can have consequences that persist for years, especially for children who are already sensitive and vulnerable. These experiences can have an effect on how a person's personality is developed. For instance, a person can develop anxiety or depression from being bullied. They can also develop processes called the person environment transaction, which is where a person responds to, seeks out, and creates environments that are compatible with and or may magnify their personality traits. And that's on page 223. I believe depending on the experiences a person's had and situations they've been in, they could either have the active person environment transaction, which is, when they're a more so aggressive person would have when they're used to confrontation. So I feel like a person who's been in an abusive household, they could have a active person environment transaction, but they can also have a reactive person transaction. Well, I believe they can have. It can either be either or, really. I feel like it depends on the person and the severity of the abuse, I think, and the type of abuse they've been through. Because I feel like depending on what age they were, or if they were physically abused, mentally abused, or emotionally abused, either transaction, they could be active, reactive, or evocative, depending on I think depending on the situations and the experiences they've had with certain people. So the lasting effects from these experiences can be difficult to undo, especially when the person still lives in the same environment they occurred. In these cases, it's beneficial for a person to move to a new environment where no one knows them to change. I believe that being in a new environment where no one knows who you are, or has any expectations or judgments about you as a person can be a great motivator in a person wanting to change. It gives a person a chance to reinvent their narrative identity, which is the story about themselves without judgment. Now, it also says, what's the second one? It says, if I could move and change alter personality aspects of your personality, would you change it? Why? Now, I would want to, I would want to change the fact that I am a pessimistic person. I always think of the worst case scenarios first about a situation instead of the good things. My mind, for whatever reason, it likes to go for the negative things. Oh, this bad thing can happen, this thing can happen. I'm also stubborn to default. And I also don't like asking for help. So I would like to change. Those would be some aspects I would like to change. And I think I'm a pessimistic person because of the environment I grew up in. My parents' marriage is very combative, and as in they always argued. Like they argued a lot, and then I was always put in the middle of it, so it was always like a it was always a very toxic situation to be in, and you couldn't really see the brighter side of things when you're in a situation like that. So it's made me have a negative connotation for a lot of things because one minute they would be fine, and then the next minute, oh, they're arguing again, and it's like so. My mind just automatically goes to, oh, you know, negative default, basically. I feel like I would need to move to make a personality change. Um, um, and actually, I did. I was at a point where I moved to Lubbock for university, and for those 6 months, I can honestly say that I wasn't really as pessimistic as I normally am because I wasn't in a toxic toxic environment where everybody was fighting and I was the mediator between everything. So when I was in Lubbock, all I had to focus on was myself and myself alone. So I think that me moving from the environment that I was in to the environment that I was in Lubbock really helped my mental state and helped my outlook on things. Like, okay, there is a better, option. You don't always have to be negative. You could be optimistic, and the people around me definitely helped with that as well. Um, I was surrounded by a lot of optimistic and uh, people who had a great outlook on life, and because of that, it rubbed off on me. Mm, how would I make sure to continue those personality changes? I would I would basically try. Well, I'm doing it now. To think of the positive things first. I say make a list and write down all the positive things that have happened to me and focus on that instead of focusing on the negative things so much. And I'm still working on trying to be less stubborn and asking for help. That's still a work in progress, but I'm definitely doing better when it comes to the negative thinking and the pessimistic thinking. I'm thinking instead of thinking, oh, why does this happen to me? I'm like, this happened for a reason. Uh, Look at the brighter side of things. It'll get better. Like there's no need to harbor on all negative things so much. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah. Work y'all. Right, bye guys.